Okay, so for this week, we're studying the concept of transnationalism. Transnationalism meaning to go across or beyond nations. So the transnational dimensions of new American homes, um, which picks up from last week's notion of new American home and the United States being the new American home. However, you see that this week home is in plural, meaning homes. So, what I argue this week is that within some Southeast Asian American communities, there is transnational linkages that affords them the ability to identify multiple sites as home. So the United States being a home, as well as their home country still being a home. That might not be the case, though, for refugees, but it's definitely the case for some immigrants. Again, from last week, we know that refugees have no choice but to leave, and they cannot return because of prosecution or fear of prosecution and even death. So the image of the immigrant who comes to the United States and resettles and ends all tides with his homeland is an old-fashioned image that that reflects the old-fashioned uh, idea of assimilation and does not reflect the complex dimensions of Southeast Asian American subjectivity, and subjectivity meaning sense of self and sense of home. Trans-Pacific, transnational links are strong. What makes them strong? Well, one, technology. Two, travel by airplane. And telecommunication, keeping communication and relationships strong. So trans-Pacific and transnational links are strong, and the space between Southeast Asia and America is fraught with contest, tension, conflicts, and requires critical examination and engagement, which is what we do this week. We look at two communities, the Chinese-Indonesian community and the Filipino-American community. So for this week, we examine the Chinese-Indonesian Americans and the Filipino Americans community formation and transnational connections and linkages that demands that we rethink and reconceptualize what it means to be Southeast Asian and Asian American in general. The sense of home and the sense of self, subjectivity, are both transnational and transpacific. Transpacific meaning across the Pacific Ocean. So as you read and watch videos for this week, you can pay particular attention to this notion of transnational and transpacific connections and links. Look at how they are expressed, contested, constructed, and experienced, and why they are part of Southeast Asian American life. And furthermore, think about what makes the transnational and transpacific links or linkages and connections possible. So you have two readings for this week. One is by Dahlia, Collective and Conflicting Memories and Narratives of Migration from Indonesia in the United States. And here she's looking at Chinese Indonesian Americans and the political unrest in Indonesia, and how within the United States, even though you leave that country out of conflict, but while in the United States, there tends to be a romanticism, meaning like you forget about that political tension and you idealize the homeland. And the other reading by Eric Pito on Balikbayan tourism looks at Filipino Americans, and here he's looking at Filipino Americans going back to the Philippines, returning to the Philippines, and the kind of anxiety that comes with that homecoming. So, so explore those two chapters and enjoy. Thank you.